church, and in this church, when you got old enough to be able to read and write, you were assigned to Sunday school class pretty much. And Liz was in my Sunday school class, one of my students, and I also had the privilege this year of being the kindergarten teacher for her two youngest, her twins. And there were days that they would look at me, both of them would look at me and do things, and I would have flashbacks to Liz. And I think she would admit she could be a stinker at times, just like her kids. But she has turned into a fabulous young woman, and she is coming now to share her story, or her message.
Tried to write some of it on my phone, but I'm going to just go from what the Lord has put on my mind. Honestly, when Pastor Rick asked me, I think he asked me the same, what was your topic? Why is God real? I think he said, why is God real to Liz, or how do I know God is real? And I started thinking about that, and I'm just going to warn you that what I have to say is kind of on the deep side. Just a warning. I mean, I'm not going to, I'm going to keep it appropriate and everything for church, but it is on the deep side. I shared the last time I spoke and was up here talking about the Lyme disease and everything. That struggle that I felt even from such a young child. And I actually was going to mention about being in analysis class. I had that struggle, and I guess it was more curiosity as a kid, and I think Elijah has the same thing. What will happen if I do this? What will happen if I, so there were times that I would be like, I wonder what Alice will do if I eat paper, crayons, and paste in the same, just ridiculous. I don't think she even remembers that, but like I was sitting in the hall back in Sunday school like almost every Sunday, just because I did things like, what will happen if I do this, or just being a stinker. And I guess that struggle and that curiosity with things at times has gotten me into a lot of trouble in my life. As a teenager, I had that desire, like I've said, to serve God, and I had a call of ministry at such a young age, and I felt very strongly that God was going to use me someday. And I'll tell you about that later, because I finally, after all these years, I don't know, I'm in awe. But I've always known that God wanted to use me to reach others. But He took me through so many things, and a lot of the things that I went through as a teenager that I faced were because of some of the choices that I made, but also circumstances, life circumstances, hard things that a teenager shouldn't have to deal with. Heartache, struggled with deep depression as a teenager, and I don't even know if some of you realize that, but coming into church, there were nights that I was honestly so depressed as a teenager that, because I think we were so involved, it was before the alarm system, way before obviously, but my family had a key to the back door, and there was times that I was so full of depression and so upset, and times that I would just tell my parents I was just going to go to a friend's house, which I guess is true, but I would come here and I would just be by myself. And Pastor Rick kind of knew it was when the parsonage was right next door. And sometimes I would just lay on the pew and cry out to God and feel so lost and feel, God, out here I am trying, and I keep just facing thing after thing that are so hard and feeling so empty. And I have to admit there were times that I overdosed on pills as a teenager, just trying to numb the pain, trying to end my life, to be honest. Trying, and I have dealt with depression, just all the circumstances that have come into my life. But you know what? When I've been thinking about my whole entire life, and I'm going to share a song in a couple minutes, thinking about my whole life and those times of desperation where I have it's almost like when we're in those storms of life, it's hard not to focus on the storm and not to see all of the, the waves crashing and all of that around. And just as Simon Peter, as soon as he took his eyes off of Jesus, he began to sink. But when he kept his eyes on Jesus was when he was able to rise above. And I, in my most desperate times where I felt the most hopeless, where I felt like there was no hope for me, that I just had to, end my life or just try to get rid of the pain, I've held on to that verse that has said, when we draw near to God, He will draw near to us. And I have found, to be honest, and it's difficult in those times where you're facing the storm, not to see the waves and not to see all of that's going on, but to look up and just to make, and I've heard a preacher that I once heard, when we draw near to God, all it takes is a wiggle. If we're just wiggling towards Him, if we're just calling out and just taking that smallest step, He is just going to run to us. And He may not fix our problems right then and there. He may not make things, happy and take the storm completely away. But I found a sweet peace that passes all understanding. And that's all, I can quote that scripture because it really is like that when you're facing times and you're looking all around you and it just doesn't make sense. And people look at you and, well, how are you okay? Well, I'm not really okay, but I am inside because I have that peace and I have that hope in God. And I've just found that to be true over and over and over. And I know that God, and I don't know, maybe somebody needs to hear this morning, but God doesn't waste our pain. He doesn't take us through those times of life, just to do it. He doesn't waste His pain, that pain. And I found, that's where down the road we'll be able to help somebody else that needs help, and we'll be able to be a minister, just talking about God to our friends and coworkers or whoever it may be. And I just have to say that I honestly, I don't know how to explain this, but as growing up and everything, like I said, I felt very clearly called into ministry. I thought maybe I could be a rock star or something with my music, or reaching with Christian music, or do something. And I did spend time on the mission field preaching as a preacher to the Sioux Indians, and I loved that. And my heart was just, sometimes it's still there, and sometimes I still cry over the Indian people. But as I've been back in Pennsylvania and trying to figure out, and I've faced a lot of things since we've been back, that, but I've still felt God speaking, even through the Lyme disease, even through sickness and just everything that's happened. I felt His peace as I reached out and made those steps towards Him, and also that firm belief that He has called me into ministry. And Pastor Rick has said it over and over to me, and I'm like, well, yeah, what? Can you give me a hint here? Because I'm just here, I want to be used. I want to do whatever I can and everything. And in the last month, God has just been really speaking clearly. And I'm looking into taking courses to become a Christian counselor, Christian counseling, family counseling, just so many issues that I've actually faced for myself, suicidal thoughts in the past, and dabbling into things that I tried, to be honest, I tried to run from God. I've been the prodigal son at times, trying to numb the pain, but I found that Jesus Christ is the only one that satisfies. He's the only one that will fill us with contentment, will fill us up to overflowing, and He's just, and so I'm just excited. I haven't even told my mom this, actually. She's not here. But no, I just have a heart for ministry, whatever God, however He wants to use me. And finally, it was just like a light bulb. And I talked to I have a friend who has helped me through many of these issues, who is a Christian counselor. And, I've talked to him about what kind of ministry, like I don't even know where to go. I want to do something. I know I'm called and everything. And he said, God will show you, God will show you. And I told him the other day, I said, I want your input about becoming a Christian counselor. And he was just over. He said, I knew God was going to, like, and I was like, well, why didn't you share that with me? And he's like, you had to figure out for yourself. You needed to hear it from God and have God speak to your heart and everything. And I'm just so excited. I have a song to share, and it's a very, very deep song, talking about, and I think that especially teen suicide, we're dealing with such deep issues for our teenagers right now. The bullying, the cyberbullying, all of that. It was bad when I was a teenager, and I just can't even imagine. I know what my kids deal with in the elementary school, not really so much bullying, but just the worldly stuff that they hear. And, I just have a heart to share with people in those darkest times. And, we face them, whether it's someone close to us that has cancer, or someone close to us that is so sick, or dealing with, maybe it's problems that we're facing ourselves. Whatever it is, there's still hope in God, and there still is hope. No one is hopeless. I just look, and to be honest, I haven't even told you all the struggles that I've had. And you would just be shocked, and I'm not going to go into a lot of them. But really, if anyone could have been hopeless, it would have been me. Because, like I said, I tried so many things, tried to fill that void, and came down to the rock bottom. And God has just literally saved my life. Literally saved my life so many times. And so I'm going to share this song. Maybe it's for somebody that is going through something very, very difficult. Maybe it's for somebody that just needs to realize that you're not hopeless. And like I'm going to tell you, this is my newest song, but it's one of my deepest songs, and you will see where I've been and in those darkest moments, but you'll also see how God, as I was able to look up, and he was able to take me out of that.
No. What is it? Do we know?
I don't remember the number. If you want me to grab a different one, I can.
Keep
Test,
trying.
test.
It is on, I guess. Yeah, let me turn it on.
Yep. And I wasn't expecting, I'm not a soprano, I wasn't expecting to sing soprano this morning, but I tried to help carry. I'm an alto. But the outlet for all the hurt. When I'm down on the ground and darkness surrounds, you speak life into me, give me vision to see. If I just trust in you, you'll carry me through. Never left alone, 'cause the thoughts sweep through my head, constantly finding me wishing I was dead. They clawed me, they scream at me as they rip out my voice. They rage inside, and I hide. Do I even have a choice? The knife is in my hand. Will I carry through, or will I turn away? Will I come back to you? When death is the comfort, the outlet for all the hurt. When I'm down on the ground and darkness surrounds, you speak life into me, give me vision to see. If I just trust in you, you'll carry me through. My heart is breaking, my soul is aching. All the hurt, all the pain I'm now forsaking. The darkness laughs, the demons scoff, my mind is gone.